Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, and welcome to a webinar of Openlm. Today, we will have a special webinar. This is not a webinar, it's more of a workshop. Now, I would like today to go over a few things that you might have missed in Openlm. This is basically meant for users that already know about Openlm, that already know most of its capabilities, but have always wondered what else Openlm has. So first I'm going to go over a few things that you might have missed, but afterwards I would like to open up the lines of communication and have you just take me wherever you want. I can talk about Openlm for a straight month now, if you'd like, but it will be better if you can direct me to the specific details and specific things that you would like to see in Openlm. Okay, so on the agenda today, before we move on to the Q&A and the other part, first I would like to show you a few reports and show you how they come together. Meaning how can you understand one thing from the report without knowing the data on the other report. So we're going to compare reports and see how the comparison helps us. We're going to go over all the different filters of the reports. We'll be going over a few properties that you probably missed, a few reports that you probably missed. And then I will just give the floor to you. And that's it. If you would like me to talk about something else, no problem. So let's begin. So first of all, the two reports that I want to show you, you probably already know these reports. So right here we have the license usage report, and you can pretty much see that it is here it was very underutilized, and here it's about to be maxed out. Now this is something basic, you probably know about it, you don't really need a whole lot of explanation. But have you tried to compare this with the heat map? So let me give you an example. Let's say that you take a certain day, or maybe you take a certain week, and you show its usage report. So with this usage report, you can compare the heat map of the report, and this way understand exactly what's going on during the day. So this way you will know that, oh, the max of this day was like 69 licenses or 66 licenses. We only know the max for that day, for that hour, but we don't really know the spread across days and across the day itself. So this gives us a more granular information about your license usage. So you can view it as a full day and then take a look inside that day and know exactly when it has been used. Now, this is good for users who want to, for example, have a licensed server that follows the sun, that services the whole world. So you can check this report plus this report, and you'll see that, oh, it's maxing out on this day, and it has been maxing out for most of the day. So you can compare or combine these two reports right now to get a more a better understanding of what's going on with the licenses. Now we can compare this, once we know that, okay, it was maxed out, the max of that hour was like 70, the heat map, we see the spread across the day. And if we combine it with a license utilization report, then we'll be able to know from this, we'll be able to know exactly what we need to purchase and what is our overall utilization. Because when you look at this report right here, you don't really know the utilization. Also, when you look here, you get a better understanding of your utilization, but you can't still put your finger on it. Like it's 50, it's 60, it's 16. Like, what is the average here? So you can, with using license utilization report, you can know exactly what's going on with it. So we have the same feature on the same time span. One moment, let me get that feature. And we will see how it compares. We're going to take the same report, the same time span, and see what it gives us. So by this report, by the license usage report, we can see that, well, it was maxed out a really short amount of time. And if we even click on it, we'll be able to see the license activity report, and it will show us all the activities for that day. Now, all the activities and all the sessions, they don't cover the whole day. It was maximized here for a short while. So to understand how much it was actually utilized, we go to the license utilization report, which is under Start, Management, and you got license utilization. So you see here, let's forget about the quality of service line for now. You can see here exactly the percentage of time spent on each usage level. So let's take an example. Let's take, I don't know, one license, only one license pulled at the same time. So only one license used was 84% of the times, but this is aggregated. If we want to show it unaggregated, then it shows us the actual amount for each usage level. So one license was 10% of the times, but if we show it as aggregate, you see it's about 85% of the time. What does that mean? What is this aggregate? Well, if you don't aggregate, it just shows you how much time it was on one. If you do aggregate, keep in mind that one is encapsulated inside two. If you have two licenses pooled, then you also have one license pooled. If you have three licenses pooled, you also have two and one licenses pooled. So this is why, because it's encapsulated, you see it's dropping and dropping until it gets well to a quality of service line that we want to create. So we said before that the license usage report showed us a maximum right here, but really small peaks like here and there, and that's about it. How does it show on the license utilization report? So maxing it out is 70. So 70 licenses pooled was only 0.01% of the time. And this is logical. You see, it was just for a short amount of time out of this whole period that we chose. It was just a sliver of time that the utilization went to 70. So it was like 0.01%. Now, about the quality of service line. You probably know what is quality of service, but I will tell you anyway. So quality of service means how many licenses you need in order to get a certain amount of service to your engineers. Meaning that if you're okay with the fact that, let's say, 95% of the times users will get the license, 5% of the times they will get denied, then you actually need 45 licenses. If you're okay with like 10% of the times they get the license, then it's only 30 licenses that they need. That's a huge reduction right here. And you can tell exactly how many you need by just going over the graph. You don't even need the quality of service line. Okay, I got a question here. I'm just going to finish my sentence and I'm going to go to your question. So I just wanted to say that the percentage right here, you see it's almost 10% right here. So it's 100 minus this percent. So if we got like 10 licenses, that means quality of service of about 60%. And so on. 6 licenses right here is about 50%, and so on. So you can tell just by hovering over it. Now I have a question. Is there any way for the license users to know if a license is available without Openlm installed? Yes, but they will need to have one of two things. Either you can set up a guest account for them or a user account for them in the Easy Admin itself, and then they simply log in and they're able to see what they need to see. Or they can view it using the Openlm Agent, which gives them an interface that shows them which licenses are available, which licenses the organization has, and can also notify them once the license has become available. Okay, so now I want to move on to, we've seen how to compare reports. We've compared the license utilization with license usage, license activity, and also the heat map. So we've connected all of them to understand exactly what's going on. Like this shows us on a time chart our usage. This shows us exactly the percentages, because when you look at this, you don't really know the percentages. You can't really tell utilization. You look at it and you say, it's about, I don't know, 30%. You don't know. You can't really tell. You don't have a concrete number. So if you combine that with the heat map and also the license utilization report, then you'll get a lot more insight on your reports. Now, let's move on to a few properties of Openlm reports that you probably didn't know existed. If you go right here to the Openlm symbol and just click on it, then you'll be able to see the properties. You can restore it, minimize it, add a shortcut. So let's go over what this is. So if you go to properties, the report can be refreshed every a certain interval. So you can tell it to refresh like every 10 seconds or something. If you want, I think the minimum is 60 seconds. So if you want this to refresh because you are using it as live streaming data and you want it to be refreshed automatically, then you just go here, enable auto refresh and set the interval. Open Add Application Startup means that it will open automatically when the application, when Easy Admin opens, and you can start it up using a predefined filter that you create. Now, how is that predefined filter actually created? So let's say that you selected a filter right here and you want to save it. So you just click here, you give it a name and save. That's it. Let's say that you want to load it. So you just go here, you select it and apply. And it applies right here. You simply click apply again and it will refresh the report. Now, let's go back to the Openlm icon right here. So we've seen what we can do with properties. The reset layout simply resets the report to be blank without any configuration, without any filtering, anything. Restore and minimize, of course, is the window size. Now, add shortcut to desktop. You'll be able to add a shortcut with a predefined filter to the Easy Admin desktop. So let's take, let's take a heat map demo. Click OK, and it was added to the desktop, but where is it? So let's minimize these, and we'll be able to see it in the background. Let's just close everything. And here we go. You can see license usage, heat map demo. It's on the dashboard. It's on the desktop right here. If I click on it, then it will open license usage report with heat map demo filter, the stored filter that I have. Now it's loading the data, and that's it. It's automatic. Simply double click, or you can just have it open when you open Easy Admin. Okay, so one more thing that I want to show you about the configurations is a small thing. You can set this filter to be on the top, on the bottom, on the right, on the left, whatever you choose, because some people don't want it on the left right here. Also, you have the ability to share your information. So if I click share right here, I can either just share the link, just this link, and whoever has connection to my machine can view the link and can open the Easy Admin and view it if they have the correct credentials. It can be shared by email. Again, it shares the link, sends it by email, or it can be scheduled. So for that, you will need to install the Openlm report scheduler. Now this allows you to select a schedule when you want this report to be sent out. So let's say that you set a report for last 7 days and you want to get it every Monday at, at 8 a.m. You want it to run, and you can add a few users, or you can simply add yourself, whatever you choose, add an email. Then the report will be sent out to you. It will be scheduled and sent out to whomever you put their email there. So if you want to view your scheduled task, well, I don't have a task here right now, but you go to Start, Schedule Task, Scheduling Task, and it will be there. You will be able to see your scheduled tasks. Now, what did we see? We saw a way to compare between the reports and understand exactly how much time and how well utilized are our licenses. We've seen a few tricks with the properties right here, where we can open the application at startup, where we can enable a refresh, so it will be like a live dashboard, like a live report. And we can add a shortcut with a predefined filter. And of course that we can share, schedule, or save the filter. Now I want to go over the filters themselves to quickly explain what is it that we have there and how it can be used. So in this report, you can see I have a few checkboxes. The aggregate usage means how do you want to aggregate your usage? Well, do you want it without any aggregation? Do you want it aggregated by the hour, by the day, by the week, by the month? Now, what does that mean, aggregated? By the hour means what was the maximum amount of time what was the maximum amount of licenses per certain hour. So if we look at our, I don't know, at midnight, so only at midnight until 1 o'clock, it will give you the maximum amount. Now, if you don't want the maximum amount, you can also select the average amount or the minimal amount. Maybe you don't want to see the total licenses. You can remove that as well. Maybe you want it as a line, smooth. You want to show the markers. Whatever you choose. Or you can even show all of them together, which is a bit messy. Now, after you've aggregated or left it unaggregated, you can ignore weekends and consider only working hours. Now, this we need to set in the administration, and we go here to working hours. Here we set what are the working hours and working days. So working hours 8 until 5:30, and the weekends are Saturday and Sunday. Once I save it, then when I ignore weekends right here, then you will see the graph is cut. It just doesn't show the weekends. You're not interested in the weekends. Consider only working hours. That means that it doesn't consider the weekend, and also it only considers 8 until 5:30. So this way you'll be able to show exactly what you need and not beyond that. And of course that you can take this report and you can quickly move it, and you see I'm focusing on a certain peak, on a certain point. You can also do that. Now let's say that you've selected a few reports, a few features, and you want to show both of them. So if you select two of them and click apply, then it will give you two of them, two of the reports. You see I have a blue line and a red line right here. Now let's say that I want them together. I want them summed up. So I remove this, click apply, and this shows them not as separate chart lines, but this shows them together, summed up together. So this is good if you have multiple pools, if you have multiple versions, whatever. One more thing, in the features right here, you have a few options to select all the versions of a certain feature. I can click show obsolete right here, and it will show me the obsolete features. So I have version 1 and version blank. I can also, if I want, select all versions. Now if I click select all versions on this, it will select automatically all these three different licenses, these two pools and this one different version. So because we've had some customers asking how can we show multiple pools, how can we show different versions, and of course if you select those different versions, then when you go to here, display separate chart lines, Again, you can show them together or you can show them separately, whatever you choose. Now, we have also include current usage, which is pretty self-explanatory, meaning that a license was pulled and not put back. So include also that. And exclude unconsumed reservations. What does that mean? That means that, well, let's say that you have 10 licenses and 2 of them are reserved licenses. So if you exclude unconsumed reservations, you will not see the 2 licenses. The usage will be just as as reported, meaning that you will get 2, maybe maximum of 8 licenses used at the same time, and you have the 2 reserved licenses. So the 2 reserved licenses will not be taken into account as usage. So now when this is checked off, unchecked, then reserved licenses are considered as used. Here I have about 10 licenses, about 11 licenses that I have reserved. So you see that during the weekend they are like they're used, but they're not, they're reserved. So if you want to change that, you can exclude unconsumed reservations. And then it will not show you those as used licenses, but only simply as licenses. Now, let's take a look at, so this is just about it. Let's take a look at the denials report, which also has a few special features in its filters. Sorry about that. So mainly the different thing about denials is that it enables you to select the denial type, so you can know if limit reach, problem with licenses or whatever. You can group it differently by user, by group, by server, whichever grouping you want. And it shows true denials or not. So true denials means that, let's say it goes to one server, tries to get a license, gets denied, and then it goes to another server to try and get a license, but there it gets the license and the user is able to work. So the first denial, you don't want that in your report because it did get the license like a second after. So you don't care about that. So you can show true denials only if you want. Now I have a lot more to show you. I have a lot more Openlm and secret hidden things about Openlm, but I want to hear from you. So go ahead. Let's open lines of communication. Go ahead, ask. You can use the chat of the GoToWebinar. Just simply ask questions. Take me in any direction that you want to go. May it be extensions, agents, reporting hub, whatever. As long as you don't get too specific on your system, like how do I configure my LMX, whatever. So no, but if you are keeping it general, you want to know information about anything regarding Openlm, then go ahead. It's your time. Lead me to where you want to go. So can you explain true denials again? Yeah, I'll explain it again. Let's say that you have an engineer, and the engineer opened, I don't know, Autodesk. So the application went to the server and tried to get a license. Now let's say that it was denied from getting the license. So what did the application do? It went to another server and tried to get the license from there. So let's say that it did get the license from the other server. So now you got one server with a denial and one server that's a second after, gave the license. The license was checked out. So the first denial, as an administrator, you don't care about that. You don't care about the first denial because the user did get the license eventually. So you can filter them out and show only true denials. Oh, you're welcome, Nelson. Philip Nelson. Go ahead. Take me to wherever you want to go. Ask whatever you want to ask. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to continue show you a few more things. And again, I will give you a bit of time to ask questions near the end. But let's take a look at, oh, I have a question right here. Can we generate this report into Excel? Yes, indeed. If we go to license usage report and you go to the table right here, then you'll be able to export it as a CSV file. Now the CSV file, of course, you can open with Excel and it holds all the data that you are seeing here. Now you can also do this in the denials report, in the utilization report, in all reports that house a table, you can do it. You can download it using the little button, the download button, which every report has. And if it's a table, it will give you all the data that you need in table format. Does Openlm continuously read the log file generated by LM2, or does it have a direct entry to the API or FlexNet? Okay, so Openlm uses a few things. Let's say that we're talking about FlexLM. You said LM tools, that's FlexLM. Let's say that we're talking about FlexLM. So Openlm first monitors the license output of the LM tools. If you go to LM tools and you click status inquiry, then it will give you like an output of all the users, of all your licenses, who's using right now, and it's very jumbled and messed up. So Openlm reads that from the license manager. So it connects to the vendor port, listens to the port, and it gets the data, extracts the data from that license output. Now this is one line of monitoring. We have another one, which is the debug log. So we have the license output, and we complete information using the debug log. So denials, for example, come from the debug log. We have data verification in front of the debug log. So if we have a session that's strange, it graded itself to be not verified, so it will try to compare it with the debug log. And if there is a comparison with the debug log, then it will just leave it be. If it sees in the debug log a session that's not in the output, then it fills in the blanks. Now Openlm, as I said, gets the usage from the license output, gets the usage and denials from the debug log. It gets users, groups, and restrictions from the options files. And it gets packages and features from the license file, the vendor supplied license file. Martin is asking, how can I work with several users? Well, there are a few ways you can do this. You can do it using the roles and permission extension. Now, roles and permission extension allows you to set different views to different users. So, for example, you can have an admin role, an agent role, a user role, a manager role, whatever you choose. And each role has the Openlm resources inside. And you can allow or deny different resources from being used by different users. So let me show you. Let's say that we have permission to remove licenses, so it's allowed. Show user named, allowed. So you can deny whatever you choose. We're in admin role, everything is allowed, but you can deny it as well. You can even deny certain servers from view. So let's say I don't want to deny parts of Openlm. I want to deny parts of Openlm relating to a certain server. So I just click server right here and gave me all my servers, and I can allow or deny usage to start, stop, reread the server, or just see any data relating to that server. Now this is data over the easy admin or using the Openlm agent. Now data using the easy admin means that they'll have a user they'll have a user that they can connect to Openlm with. Now that user, you can either create that manually or you can pull the user from the Active Directory, and then he will have the credentials that he has in the Active Directory. Or you can use the IIS, meaning the Windows authentication, in order to get that user logged into Openlm. If your roles icon is grayed out, then either you don't have that in your license file, or you need to change a configuration right here. So you go to server, to the Openlm server, start here, server configuration. Let's open that up. And then you need to go to advanced. I'm having issues loading it up. Let's do it from here. There we go. So if we go to advanced, require login credentials, here you can put the admin name and admin password in order to connect to Openlm. Now this is the super user role, super user password and username. So once you click OK, you just apply and restart, and that's it. You should have that after it's restarted. You should have that not grayed out. But if you don't have that in your license file, meaning that you did what I've just shown you, but it's still grayed out, then you can go to Openlm license right here and check your license status. So I have role-based security right here. You can check if you have role-based security. If you do, then you simply need to set a super user admin password, and that's it, and you'll be good to go. I have another question. How can you set the output directory for reports? Okay, so we've shown that you can download reports, share links, and do all that. But how can you define where it goes? So you go to Start, Administration, then you go to File Fetching right here. Inside File Fetching, this is the fetch URL. So make sure that the host name is correct. And right here, you can change the path of the folder that you want it downloaded to. So by default, it goes to downloads, but you can change it to go to whichever folder you'd like, of course. Okay, and meanwhile, while you're thinking of new questions or things that you want to know, meanwhile, I'm going to open AutoCAD 2017 just to show you a cool thing that we have using the Openlm Agent. Now, what I'm about to show you is the Openlm core agent, means that it's a part of your core product. If you bought Openlm without any extensions or with extensions, doesn't matter, or if you're under evaluation, then you will be able to use the Openlm agent. Now the Openlm agent sits on the workstation of the end user, and it gives him the ability, him or her, gives them the ability to know what's going on right now with licenses that they need. So for example, right here, you see it shows me my licenses and how many are used. But let's take another example. Here I have a better example. So this is the end user, like this is a workstation. This is an end user workstation. So the end user workstation, sorry about that, will be able to show the user who is using their licenses, which licenses they have, and which are not used and free. So if we take a look at it right here, we can see that like 15 out of 15 of publisher are used. And let's say that I need publisher and I'm the end user. So I click on ArcGIS and I see that, oh, Yasmin is working since, since 4. No, then I won't bug her. But I see that he is working since 12. So maybe I can call Benny and tell him, hey, I need that license. Can you put it back? Maybe we can work something out. So if you have your details in your Active Directory, so when you click here, you will be able to see the office, telephone number, email, and all that. Now we don't have that updated, so we don't see it, but if you have it, you will see it, and the end user will be able to know that, oh, Benny, that's his email. I want to call him up and tell him that I need the license. So this is one thing. But another thing is license notification. So let's say that you have an engineer that tried to pull a license but got denied. So, well, every sane person will just try to get the license again and again and again and again and again, like maybe half an hour, 1 hour, just try to get the license. So that means that this engineer is kind of sitting on his hand and pretty much doing nothing. So if that user is doing nothing, then you're losing money. The Openlm agent can tell the user that the license has become available. So if I try to open AutoCAD right now, I already have it open, I only have one license for it, I am going to get denied from pulling that license. Now once I get denied, the system knows that I got denied and I'm looking for that license. So once that license becomes free, then I will get notified. I will know about it. Oh, I think they're not connected to the same license manager. Meanwhile, I'll answer a question here. Can you install as many agents as you'd like, or is there a cost? Now, if you're talking about the core agent, the core Openlm agent, then yeah, you can just install how many you'd like. You can roll them out automatically. You silently roll them out to all your different workstations. Once they are rolled out, the users they don't have to know that they have the Openlm agent. It can be installed silently. They will not know it's there. Okay, so the two of them are connected to different license managers probably. But if you use the active agent or any extension with the agent, then you are charged for each one. But if it's the core product, then you're not charged for each one. I'm going to wait for you to ask more questions. I'm going to try and resolve this issue right here. So pretty much that's pretty much everything that I would like to go over today, because it's been about 45 minutes. It's been pretty long time. I don't want to overload you with information. I'll just do a quick recap, and I think that will close for today. If you have any more questions, you can call us up via chat, via phone, maybe send us an email to support@openlm.com, whatever you choose. So a quick recap. We've seen how to combine and how to compare the chart with the heat map and the license utilization report. To compare all these to get a cohesive insight of what's going on during the day and what's the total utilization of it. We took a look at the properties and shortcut to desktop options. We took a look at all the different filtering options, like the different aggregations, the different checkboxes, and so on. We went over the agent roles and a few of your questions. And I think that that's about it. There's a lot more. There's like checkout policies. There's the configuration of servers. There's just a bunch of stuff. So you see now that I tried to pull a license of Autodesk, and I got denied because I don't have any licenses left. So now if I try to, if I'm an engineer and I have the license freed up, I want to get notified about it. So this AutoCAD right here, once I close it, this user, the end user, will be able to see that the license has become available after a few minutes. So let's try it. Let's close this. And in about 2 or 3 minutes, it will pop up a notification right here saying that the license that I try to get is now free. Now, this happens after a few minutes because the first user, well, he might have had some just a loss of connection, maybe a temporary shutdown, or maybe a few minutes, but he wants the license back. it was just a temporary issue and he doesn't want to lose his license. So it gives him a grace period of a few minutes before it sends out or dispatches notifications to all other license managers. So here we go. It took about 2 minutes, but we got the notification right here saying that this feature, this license you're looking for, has been released for use. So if it has been released for use, means that as an end user, I simply click AutoCAD and I'm supposed to get the license again, right? So this is exactly what happens. This way, your users will get notified that the license is available, and they won't sit on their hands. They won't, do nothing or just try to get the license again and again and again. They won't spend time on it. And that's it. If you have any more questions, I welcome you to. I will stay for a few more minutes. If you would like to ask in more details and maybe have a personal demonstration or maybe help assistance with installing Openlm, then let us know. You can call us up, or you can use the chat, or you can send us an email to support@openlm.com. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, Martin, try that. Let us know if you're having issues. Again, send an email to support@openlm.com. Bye bye. Thank you for joining.